Hey, it is Melissa from Sincerely Creative Mom. We're back for number 2. So in the first video, we added a garland, an evergreen garland, to the base here. And you can see the replay over in the first video, part 1. And so here we're going to go ahead and start adding more greenery. What I'm doing is I use those red pipe cleaners just to show you where they were so they would show up a little bit better to teach. And so now I'm just going to go ahead and cut off those babies because we don't need them. Even if I may use a bow in the end, I can always add a wire, and so I don't have to be constricted to where one of these specific pipe cleaners are. So, if it was black or brown, I could have probably left them in and it not really mattered, but red, obviously, those would show up a little bit better. So we did fluff them. I am one more thing I'm going to go through and take off these pine cones. I know some people are pine cone people, and sometimes they don't bother me. I don't mind them. But in this case, I just don't want it to get away because they're right there by the stem. I don't want them to get in the way of where we're going to add our greenery. And so for the first thing we're going to do, we're going to add a whole lot of greenery. Again, I think I'm going through a phase and I'm trying to get rid of a lot of bins I have laying around, projects that I may have started and never finished and got into. Anyway, they were longer pieces. So let's say they were about like this. So they were longer. And I cut them in two. So there were fewer stems on the bush, but because they were so long, I cut them in two. Again, this is for a different project. And so it's going to work out perfect for here because all I'm going to do is start adding the pieces in. Now, I'm right-handed, so I'm going to add them in like this, kind of, instead of like this because it feels backwards. So I'm going to add them in like this, creating like a direction in our wreath. And for now, I'm just going to leave the pine, the evergreen that we put in, the garland that we put in, I'm just going to leave that just the way it is. It's going to be fine. And it looks like there's a top and a bottom to this. All right, so I'm going to start with and I have a lot of this, so I'm just going to start. I'm just going to start getting these in. And so there are a mix of some pine, some eucalyptus. We'll go around generously the first time around, and then we'll see what we have left, and we'll keep adding. So again, I'm just going to keep going and adding. It has a little bit of pine, a little bit of the eucalyptus. They are frosted, so they're not, it's not flocked, but it's not, just plain evergreen. So we're getting that different texture in. And I did choose to do this in a order that I wouldn't normally do. So I want you to be able to see, after we have the greens in, I want you to be able to see what that looks like before we add our red hydrangeas. And so you can't really do that if the hydrangeas go in first. Normally, for a design like this, I would be putting in my hydrangeas first because they're the biggest thing. And underneath where the hydrangea is, you don't need greenery there, right? Because it's going to be covered by those nice big hydrangea heads. So, but I just chose to do it a little bit differently in this case so that you could actually see what it would look like if you didn't add the hydrangeas at all, like what it would look like. And so because, the beauty of a natural evergreen, or greenery wreath on your door with a nice big bow, beautiful for Christmas, right? Definitely some of the trendy things are, we've gone around one time. Let's go around, let's see if we got one more piece over here because we got kind of close over there and kind of far apart over here. So let's go ahead and add some pieces over here. Now, again, you can still see those red pipe cleaners. Don't worry, we're not going to see them in the end. And then after we get these in, then we'll go through and kind of start to shape and move our pine, the garland that we put in, move those around so they start to kind of blend a little bit. Right now they're just kind of on the outside or on the inside. And we have about we have a couple pieces left, so let's keep going. Let's put this one right over here on the inside. So when you're doing just an evergreen or just a greenery piece, you do want to make sure you're getting that texture on the inside, just like I'm doing right this second. On the inside of that design, on the inside of that base, on the outside of that base. So you want that texture, the color to kind of bounce around. You don't want it just through the center of your design. So we're going to use every single piece we have here because I'm not putting this bucket back on the shelf. It's time to move on. Whatever design I was thinking or had in my mind or previously started, it's long gone. I don't even remember what it was. So we're going to keep moving. This can go on the inside. This is going to go on the outside. The hydrangeas will go in the very last part of this series just because we are going to work on greenery first. Two more pieces. The one I have in my hand, 3. Let's go ahead and get that one on the inside. Get this one on the outside because it's a little bit bigger. Also, you want to pay attention to some of the pieces that are longer or chunkier versus, this one may be a little bit littler, smaller. I'm going to put those near towards the inside. Or this case, right in the outside. And I have one teeny tiny little piece that I'm going to hold on for later. So I'm going to spread this out so you can see a little bit. Just fill that in nicely. We did have, remember there was one section where we had more, I think that's right here, we had more greenery, more pine than the rest because we overlapped, so it might look a little thicker there, which is okay. But the rest looking just perfect, balanced nicely. You can see those red pipe cleaners. It's okay. We're going to make sure we don't see them in the end. Okay, so the next thing I had on the shelf in a bin that was looking at me, staring at me to use was this bunch of greenery here. Now, I think it is perfect for this style. Again, it's all different colored textures, but not all different colors, all different textures. But look, it's kind of like, I forget what the name of it is. It's not frosted, but dusty. You see how it's like, has a white almost finish to it. Now there's all different kinds. I do have these also. Let's see, get these out of the way. These were something different, but we are going to use them because they were in the pile. We're getting rid of a lot of things today. Set those in the hydrangea basket. But anyway, you can see there's just some regular pine. There's some eucalyptus going on. So we're going to use all of these pieces and just get them in. We're going to make piles. So what looks the same are going to go in the same piles. And then we'll work on using, oh, that's another one, where you work on using them and balance. So I don't want to put everything together. Obviously, the wreath itself, the base itself, we're working on a 16-inch base. And so we do have some space to pull things out, work them around. And this was 2 bushes, actually. I remember correctly, if I remember correctly, I'm pretty sure. This was 2 bushes. They had it was long stem, and I just pulled them all apart because I was going to use little tiny pieces, as you can see. These, of course, my favorite part, absolutely love. And then some teeny tiny little pine. So we're going to get those in all together. Set these pieces aside. That's our extra pile. We're going to keep that extra pile. Let's go with these first. Can't tell you how excited I am to get rid of some of these bins that have been on my shelf for quite some time. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 6 bigger pieces and 3 smaller pieces. I know that there was 2 different kinds there, but we're just going to treat them all as the same since they were very similar. And then we'll make sure that those go on the inside. Okay, so I'll set those aside for now, and then we'll just start blending these in. The stems are fairly long, which is nice. Again, just a different texture going in there. 1. Not trying to leave out any sections. 2. But definitely getting that texture in for sure. Now, if you were just doing the the greenery, you would want to make sure that you're going enough, you're adding enough to cover that grapevine, the whole thing. So we're going to not be as full because I have these great big giant hydrangeas that I'm going to put in, so they themselves are going to take up a lot of space. So I don't have to worry necessarily that I'm still going to see that grapevine. And I'm getting real close to that first one we put in, but that is okay. I'm going to put this one really close to that one because there we go. And then let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of these little guys. Notice I'm saving the eucalyptus for the end because that's the part that I like the best. And if these end up in the spot where we are like, uh-oh, we're going to put our hydrangea right there, no worry, because they have longer stems, number one, and it's going to be easy to move them right to the position that we want. So if we need to put a hydrangea right here, then we just spread the way and we're good to go. Again, a few more flocked pieces in here. I'm just going to cut that piece out. I feel like we got a lot of those pieces. I'm not putting them directly in, right? Because I don't want them to come through the other side and be scratching my door. I'm just putting them in on an angle. Oopsie. Where did that first one go? Right there. Okay, perfect. Really cool effect with that blend of green. Love, 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 love. Okay, then with my favorite part, let's see how many of these we have. 1, 2, little, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Perfect. And this isn't as strong as the wires that we've been using. It's a little more bendy. So I'm going to be a little bit mindful about how or where I put them in. Just want to make sure I have a spot that will be open enough where I don't have to like really push that in. I'm just looking for balance. I'm just looking for space. Looking to make sure that that gets right into my grapevine. Hydrangeas are such a popular thing in the summer and spring. And I mean, I know that hydrangeas might not grow in the winter where you live. They don't where I live, but who doesn't love a frosted hydrangea? That's a lot of glue. If you're just catching this video and you haven't watched any of our other ones, if you're looking for a directory of our favorite tools, our favorite suppliers, some other resources that we can help you with, don't forget to check out learnfrommelissa.com. It is our kind of everything directory, everything we can help you with. I am going to save these pieces just for the end. Now keep in mind, normally you wouldn't see those red, I don't know if you can see them, but normally you wouldn't see those red, not zip ties, the red pipe cleaners. Let's go ahead and add, so we are treating this right now as if it's just an evergreen that we are creating, and we don't even know about hydrangeas. Let's just pretend that's what our deal is. So I'm going to take some of these pieces, a little bit longer. These ones are from Hobby Lobby. They were, and when I say expensive, they were on a little bit more expensive side for being the pick size that it is. These were $4.99. Of course, that was retail. I did not purchase them at retail ever. I always wait, stock up the year before and wait. If there's something new, definitely wait in the new year. They, Hobby Lobby and some of the big box stores, and especially our online friends or online suppliers, they put pieces they receive in and get Christmas so early now. It's very easy for us as a crafter to, go in and start our planning. I don't know if I need all of these, and we may as well use them all since I cut them all. Okay, I'm going to put this extra one in our extra pile. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we're going to go 6 on each side. Yes, I do kind of plan that out. If I have, if I have 6, I'm planning 3 on each side of this. I'm kind of mentally dividing that in half and adding in. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful so far. Absolutely love. Let's go ahead and get to it with these cutie pies. Taking those long stems. I'm really looking at this point to hopefully start filling in as if we didn't have hydrangeas coming. And I feel like we're not going to move the parts of the garland that came in first, just because then we'd have to just unmove them or move them back. But I feel like at this point, moving those, like for example, moving this and having it support what's underneath there and making it all a little bit more full, I think with the pine that we have going on would be totally, I'm sorry, with the coverage that we have right now would be totally plenty. Beautiful. Let our first one go right there. We had 12, right? Sometimes I forget that I'm not live. We might have one extra at the end, and that's fine. We'll use that where we need when we finally get behind the camera and we have our hydrangeas in. Beautiful. I wanted to make sure, I lucked out because I wanted to make sure I was using all those things that I had in bins for so long. I did luck out though. Because everything coordinated and matched as far as color. Beauty. And then we're right back to where we started with our other one right over here. Beautiful. We have a couple extra. We probably could have not picked apart that last one. I'm going to put those in our extra pile, but look how beautiful that is. Again, just consider we'd be moving things around and putting things in place so that you didn't see those red pipe cleaners. But look how pretty and full we are. We started with that garland and then just added, and for me in my case, I just added pieces that I had that I never used, although I had them picked apart and ready to go for other things. So, you know, if you've taken some pieces apart, and I always say, what's the worst that can happen, right? If you're like, oh, I do this all the time in coaching, for sure, I will have a whole pile of stuff. This is why we don't give you a list of supplies of what we're going to use beforehand, because I could have pulled all the stuff and I still have more, and I could have been like, I'm not going to use those. We have plenty of green before that, right? We have plenty of this. We don't need this. We don't. So, you know, we always making sure we're going step by step and teaching you one other thing, which we might add in the ooh, look how pretty. Ooh, because we're adding those hydrangeas, I'm not going to put these in first, but this would be so, oh my goodness, this is actually, this came off of a garland, but this long pine with the flocked and the frosted is my favorite piece. I don't use it too often because I'm always afraid that I'm going to use what I have and I'm not going to have any left. But this is off of a garland that might be in the very last piece. So from here, also, don't forget you could be adding just your simple bow and being completely done, right? So let's just pretend we will add create a single ribbon hand bow, and we'll see how that would look in your completed design before we go on to the next video, which would be adding we're going to add hydrangeas, we're going to add red berries, and we will, hopefully it'll work out where we can add those pieces in again. So let's go ahead and add a red, just a single ribbon, red We'll do 2 long tails, just very traditional, and let's make them a little bit longer. So I have it so that it kind of goes past the design, and I'm going to hold it in my hand and just keep, let's see if I can get this. Sorry, I'm just trying to make it so that I can keep that on the spool. And there we go. Okay, so I'm going to just add kind of nice big loops so it comes off of there. And then that'll be my center. I'm going to pinch, twist, loop, pinch, twist, loop. I do have to twist in this case because that ribbon is the edging has just a slight difference on one side, the front and the back. Pinch, twist, loop, pinch, twist, loop. I'm going to keep going just like that all the way. So I have carpal tunnel. I know you've heard that before. So I'm going to go just as many loops as I possibly can hold in my hand. Not that you need to have as many loops as we are using, but you know, nice big red bow. And then honestly, you know, with there nothing at this point, there being nothing else in this wreath that screams, you know, just Christmas. It would be also, you know, I don't know where you live, but for us, February is definitely snow season. And so this would be just so great up through Valentine's Day, no problem. Okay, let's stop here. I'm going to grab a zip tie and add our zip tie right to the center to hold on. Now, this red, specifically this red, does clash with our hydrangeas, so we won't keep it for the second part, but I do want you to just see what it looks like with the bow and our beautiful green that we've already completed. Let's get this nice and tight. Go and add a wire to our bow. And another nice long tail. So then we can make sure we go through and fluff as best as we can. Sometimes it is a little bit easier to fluff while we are, you know, while the design is, or excuse me, while the bow is in the wreath. It's a little bit easier to fluff. But let's go ahead and start while we have it in our hands. So I'm just going to make sure I pull that center loop, the center, first one we did, right up to the center. Got flocking everywhere, and make sure I hold the back where the wire is so that I can secure it. I don't lose those wires as I start to pull everything through. I'm going to pull those loops, I'm sorry, the tails down to the front at first, and then just kind of move all of my ribbons all the way around. You have it secured with a zip tie, so it should, the center of that should not move. Just move them all around to where you have it, where what your liking is. And then I would say we don't have an up or a down, but there was a section on here that we were a little bit more full, and that is this section. So I'm going to say this is the top of my wreath, and we're going to put the tails down just so it's easier for me to grab. And you could just add it right in here. Now, let's pretend, again, we're still pretending. Let's pretend this was the last thing we were doing. And so you could definitely take that wire and go around the whole base of that grapevine instead of putting it through the grapevine, because you know, we're not adding anything else, number one. Number two, it's that thin little wire, so you're not going to see it anyways. I'm going to sink it in just enough, right? I don't want it to be suctioned down in there, but I do want it to be nice and snug. And then, sorry, I'm going to do it this way because it's easier. Then I'll make sure I come in, and again, this is my bottom down here, and this is my top towards me, just doing it this way because it's easier to, whether I'm not getting my head in your way, so you can see the bow rather than my head. There we go, easy breezy, so pretty, so, I mean, I know it took a couple videos to teach this to you, but it was teaching style rather than just, you know, full force, just me making it. So it went a little bit slower. But look at how cute and easy this was. Right? Very, very pretty, very easy. And then that does look a little bit longer, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just kind of, you see how it looked a little bit too long? There we go, really pretty. And then you could curl it. Whichever you, this is a 1.5 inch, so it allows us to have a lot of those just really fun loopy loops. Super duper cute. Okay, so that is the end of this portion. Again, don't forget to come back. You can see us add in those beautiful hydrangeas. I'll show you what they look like. We have these, gorgeous. Now you can see where the red definitely doesn't go with the red, so we won't have the bow in when we come back, but you get the idea. Really, really pretty. And then you'll also find out in the next video why I'm not just putting in the hydrangeas, I am adding an extra pick. And you'll find out the really important reason why we're doing that as well. So come back to the next video and I'll see you there. I hope you enjoyed this one. This is beautiful just as it is, and I'll see you soon.